You don't need more than one credit card. You do not need more than one credit card. We have been bamboozled, misled, manipulated, taken advantage of by the credit system. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when credit cards came into use. I have a very vivid memory of an experience with my aunt at a restaurant when credit cards came into use. Before that, there was no credit card. You had to buy what you could afford, and that's it. Credit cards have given us this false belief that we could afford anything we want when we know we can't. Because if you have to use the credit card for it, that means you cannot afford it. If you have to lean on credit to make a purchase, that means you actually cannot afford it. Point blank. Period. Stop. You may have even a need. You may need to repair something. You may need to buy a critical item. But if you have to lean on credit for it, you actually can't afford it in that moment. Now, I'm not going to sit here from a place of privilege, because I'm in a place of privilege. Most of my needs I can afford. All of my needs, I ain't gonna lie, all my needs I can afford because I have income that supports my needs. I have savings that as a backup. But if you are using a credit card to make purchases, really it's something you can't afford right now. And I want you to really think about when you're going to make those purchases. If it's something that you should really do. Just ask yourself the question, is this something I should do? Sometimes you're going to hear no. Sometimes you're going to hear no. And I encourage you to lean into your no. To trust your no. Ooh, I like that. Trust your no. Follow your no. Because your no knows. I had to put something corny in there. But yeah, you don't need more than one credit card. I actually have two. And both of these credit cards I've had since college. The limits have increased over time, thankfully. Because when I started, I think one of them was $200. And I exceeded that very quickly. But yeah, you don't need more than one. I have two. One is a credit card that I use on a daily basis. I use that card for everything. When I go get gas, I swipe that card. When I get my groceries, I swipe that card. But I also make the payments as soon as the charge sets in my account. Like as soon as the charge clears, I check my account. I told y'all before, I check my accounts every day. So if I make a purchase on Monday, by Wednesday, I'm expecting that I could actually pay that charge off because I really just swipe my card to get the points because I already had the cash available in my bank account because I spend according to my budget. The other card only sees me about once a year because about once a year is when I go out of the country. That card is specifically for that purpose because there's no foreign transaction fees. So when I go swipe that card in another country, I'm not incurring a fee every time I swipe that card because a lot of cards charge you for that action. FYI. Capital One does not charge foreign transaction fees. So that's the ones, generally one time a year that card sees me is when I go out of the country because I don't want to pay. I don't want to carry too much cash. But I do have a budget, for my spending when I travel. If y'all been listening to me, y'all know this. But some people, hi, you may be new. I want you to know that too. But yeah, I've been living, when did I graduate college? Over 20 years with two credit cards. I have bought furniture. I have paid major bills, really, using those credit cards. Of course, paid them right off after, as soon as the charge clears. But, it's a good amount on those cards. That also comes with responsible behavior with the credit cards. Making purchases, making the payments on time, that helps your credit get better. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. But if you have good behavior with your credit cards, you really only need one. Because they'll give you more money. They want to keep you as a customer. They'll give you more money. They'll increase your limit. If you have multiple credit cards, please pay them off. One, stop using them. Get down to one card that you use. Lean on that one card. The rest of them, stop using them. Continue making the payments. until you pay them off. And every time you get more money, you try to figure, like if you get your tax return, if you get some unexpected money in the mail, just put that towards, as much as possible. I have to be realistic, but as much as possible, put that towards those credit cards so you can get down to zero balances on them and eventually just let them close themselves. But yeah, you really only need one credit card. And you really shouldn't be using a credit card at all. If it's not something that you can afford to pay with cash, if once that charge clears, you can't pay it off with cash, you should not be using your credit card. Stop. Stop. Or you may be in a situation where you have to use your credit card for some necessities. I'm not judging, right? If you're in that situation, we got to get you out. We got to figure out a way to get you out. But if you're not in a situation where you have to use your credit card to pay for your necessities and you're just spending money that you don't have on things that you want, stop. Continue making payments. I'm not telling anybody not to pay your credit card. You got to. Credit is king in the United States of America. I can't speak to the rest of the world. But credit is king in the United States. So you need good credit. But stop using credit. Stop if you can. Just stop. 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 There are other ways to get the money to buy the things that you want. Legal. And I'm mostly talking about work. You may have to get a legal side hustle. You know, your budget may tell you that you don't have enough for the lifestyle you want to live. And that's okay too. That's something, that's our hard truth. You learn and you move on. And you do the things that need to be done. But we have really been misled about credit in this country. And it's causing us to not improve our financial lives the way that we should be. So that's my little rant about credit. If you're using your cards when you don't have to, stop. If you have multiple cards, pick one, stick with it, get rid of the rest. Keep making payments on them, just stop using them. Cut them up, shred them, throw them in the trash. All right, till next time, control your money.